Today, we have a 2000 Viper GTS ACR. As you can see, it's black. Yesterday, we took care of all the dirt and debris that was sitting on top of the surface by giving it a big foam bath using black light wash. And now you can see it's got a nice shine to it, but after inspecting the paint, we can see that it's got some scratches, some swirls, and it also feels kind of rough. So today, we're gonna remove all the contamination that's in the pores of the paint, and we're also gonna show you how to properly polish your black car to reveal that high shine. So going down the list on this car, a little bit of history. They started in 1988, that was the very first prototype, and also the very first generation, which started in 1992. This is part of the second generation, being that was built in 2000, and they did some minor modifications, a lighter frame, bigger motor, cleaned it up here and there, but it's still an awesome car. And if you're one of a car guy like me, where you saw this kind of car growing up, it was like having a Countach on your wall. You know, this was the car that you dreamed of, what you wanted. It's got a lot of power. It's a 6-speed, which means it's, you know, basically built for performance. V10 motor, which produces about 450 horsepower, backed by the 6-speed, so you can really get on it. You know, it moves, it boogies, and it's got a lot of oomph. And we want to give it this high shine back. I don't know if I mentioned before, but this car was a Concours d'Elegance winner, and that's a show where the car has to be immaculate. And as you can see, it's in overall great shape, but we still want to polish it to remove those scratches and swirls. And we're also going to clay it. That's how you start with any polish job, that removes the contamination from the paint, and it doesn't cause any kind of pigtails or marring. So we're going to polish it in this small section. The entire car doesn't really need it, but I'll show you on here, and that's how you're going to repeat the process over your own vehicle, or we can do it to the whole car to get the uniform key and shine. But what we're going to do now is we're going to grab our clay bar and our clay luber, and then we can get started. Now, to begin our polish job on this Viper, we're going to give it a clay bar treatment. And what that is, it's going to pull any embedded contamination or water spots or anything that's on the surface off the pores of the paint. This will give you a slick feeling, and it also gives you a better job in the end. So now I've got our clay luber here, and I'll spray this on the surface. And this is going to create a tolerance of lubrication between the bar and the surface. And this is going to prevent any kind of imperfections like marring or deep scratches. And I'll place it on the vehicle, and just working back and forth. And I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on here, just the weight of my hand, and I'm working back and forth in straight lines. And at first it's going to feel like it's grabbing or it's rough, but as you pull contamination out of the pores of the paint, it'll get slick, and then it'll just start gently gliding across the surface. Now I've started here because this is where a lot of the scratches are at from getting in and out of the vehicle, so for demonstration purposes only, we're going to polish here. We can do the whole vehicle, but we're going to start here and just give you guys the before and after when you clay it, polish it, and wax it. So now we'll wipe off the excess clay luber and we can check our work. We can also look for marring or any kind of imperfections, but it looks like it just pulled off anything that was left on the surface, and now it's ready for polishing. So I'm going to grab my machine and we can really get to it. Now I've just finished the prep work on this Viper, and now we can move into the actual polishing steps. So as you see, I've taped off the trim, and that's going to prevent any kind of staining or the machine from rubbing up against it. And also, I've taped off a section here to give you guys at home before and after of the polishing effect. Now, this car has some minor scratches and swirls and some water spots, so we don't need a real big cut. That's why I've chosen to go with a dual action polisher and an orange cutting pad. And this is a great way to get rid of finer scratches and swirls and revive your paint. Now, I'm also going to be using some V36, and this is a cutting polish that diminishes nicely, which you can use as a one-step, and it also helps bring out that shine. So we're going to start by shaking it up. And since I'm only working in a small section, I'm only going to use about 3 dots. And then we also need to prime the pad before we start. So like I said, we'll just place 3 dots, about the size of a dime, because the polish just needs to spread out, and that's how it diminishes. And then you're going to break it down using the friction and the speed of the machine and the pad. We're also going to reduce some of the marring and friction caused by the pad by giving it some pad conditioner. And then we'll blotch it out. And now on the lowest speed, we're going to spread it out in an even layer, and then we're going to bump it up to the highest speed so we can actually start doing our polishing. So as you can see, V36 is broken down into this clear, almost translucent mixture. And now we're just going to take a microfiber towel and buff off the excess. This way we can check our work and unveil that high shine. So as you saw, as I was polishing, I kept the machine as flat as possible, and I wasn't applying a whole lot of pressure because I'm letting the machine do most of the work. This is going to reduce my fatigue, and it's also going to give us the best results. And just by looking at it, without even breaking out the light, I can see that it's removed a lot of those scratches and swirls, and it's brought back that deep gloss. So I'm going to remove the tape and show you guys the before and after, and then we're going to hit a couple more spots because, like I said, the car is in great shape, so it doesn't need an entire polish, but there are some troublesome areas that we want to address. So let's get to it. We've just finished polishing this Viper and it looks great, but now we want to protect it, and that's why we've chosen to go with black wax, which is designed specifically for dark colored cars to enhance that deep shine as well as protect the finish. So now I'm going to open up the pot, and I'm taking my foam applicator pad. I'm just going to dab just a little bit onto the applicator, and we'll start here with the section we polished first. Blotch it out just as we did before, spread it back and forth in an even coat. And you can go back and forth, side to side. As long as you're working in basically straight patterns, this will ensure that you cover every inch of the area of the vehicle. And it only takes about 15, maybe 20 minutes to bond, depending on how cold it is outside. And then you come back with a clean microfiber towel and just buff off the excess. But in the meantime, you guys can head over to our website, chemicalguys.com, to check out these products for yourself. If you like this car, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time right here in the Detail Garage.